Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to What's SB Playing for the final episode, probably, of Demon Crawl, unless this really goes off the rails. Let us now proceed. You know what? We're totally going to go to the Shiny Blight, but we should probably do this Chaos Font first. At first I was thinking, oh, maybe I want to have more gold, but you know what? The Chaos Font's usually pretty cheap to interact with. We probably have enough. Ooh, that's more expensive than I was expecting. Whenever you discover a 4 or greater, pass a turn. That item will have no effect at all, like a huge percentage of the time. But every once in a while you get a thing where, you know, there's a countdown that's measured in turns, where this jump rope might help or might really, really harm you, depending on what the thing is. Suds doesn't seem any good. The Dragon Scale, honestly, doesn't seem that good. The Tarot card transforms all loot landmarks and strangers into new objects of their same type. Also, doesn't really seem any good. If you take damage for the next 10 turns, any amount of damage will kill you. So, all the things that we might receive by paying 13 gold here are either things I don't think are worth 13 gold, to be perfectly honest with you, or things that are actively negative. I don't think we spend anything at the Chaos Font. That's a little disappointing. Alright, let's head into the Shiny Blight. Let's get real rich, get ready for this shop up here. And we are in a really good position. Oh, the shiny mod was removed. Oh no, I forgot about our comforter. So few of the mods are positive. I forget that it could possibly remove a positive mod. Alright, hey, initial chest. Why don't you get out of this bubble? Whenever you make a mistake, spawn a familiar, and your familiars create a cursed trail. Okay, that's something. Also, dollars. Who doesn't enjoy a dollar? Alright, looking at our gleans real quick. Okay, we got no 0 gleans. That's fine. The cursed root of reality takes hold. That is what we were told about this place. This game has a tone. It's a little bit different than you might expect from a Minesweeper. Looks like our familiar, you know, he's close enough that he might actually get something accomplished. So remember, he's creating cursed cells. What that does is, I'm looking this up as much for me as for you. Sacrifice visible cell contents whenever you take damage to deflect 1 damage. The stage power is 2 to 5, so monsters that hit us will only deal 1 damage when they hit us, which I think means that the familiar will get blown up and will absorb the 1 damage. So, unless we screw up really badly here, I think it should be pretty hard for us to take damage, and thus pretty hard for us not to benefit from our pipe. Alright, let's just... Obviously, let's not rely on that. Let's just, like, do a good job. I think that's a pretty durable strategy. Somewhat more difficult to execute in practice than I might like. Alright, we know this must be a monster that's going to feed us some stuff. That's a good spot for a spawn. Hopefully he will actually move in a direction that is helpful to us. This 2 tells us we have a monster over here. Okay, so this one is solved already. Familiars, sadly, cannot. He is no match for the Witch of Trouble, which is one of the worst kinds of witch, honestly. The 3 tells us that that's a monster. So remember, we do have a magic item that can turn witches into familiars, or we could just blow her up with our Ruby of Flame. We probably ought to do one of those things, right? There's no sense in just letting her sit here and be a problem. I guess let's turn her into a familiar. She can hopefully wander out into the darkness over here. Alright, so for that 4 we know... Actually, all these 4s are pretty easily solved. You have all of the monsters adjacent to you that we know that we know exist. Listen, English is hard to speak at the best of times, and I'm very distracted right now by all of the spooky atmosphere and also the witch. She's a witch of trouble, man. How do we know we can trust her? Trouble. Well, I was gonna say Trouble is her middle name. Trouble is her surname, but it's still, you know, it's still bad. It's still one of the names. So this 3 is solved already. This 4 needs this to be a monster, which means this 5 is solved. And hopefully we will not be... let's see here. 1, 2, 3... Okay, so we know this is a monster. Hopefully we won't really have a use for the brainwash again. I guess... I did a bad thing there. Yeah, because this 1 was already solved. I'm not looking... So when I'm looking at this cell and I'm thinking, hey, let's figure this out, I look to the side and go, hey, there's a 1 at a corner, that means that this is a monster, and then I don't look beyond the 1 to the cells beyond. This is a problem. Also, we did take damage there, right? I think. Well, it did it delete one of my familiars? I don't know. I think we had another familiar spawn recently. But also I don't remember how many lives we were at. Because it takes almost nothing to flush information out of my brain. It's almost like a superpower. I have this incredible ability to forget things. Forget things that I knew very recently. I don't think we want to bother converting that witch to a familiar. The odds of her actually going anywhere useful are too low. So I guess let's do this thing. Maybe she'll drop something cool? No, she didn't. Okay. We'll just keep spawning familiars, and they'll just keep not doing anything, because that's kind of what familiars do. Alright, one of these 2 must be a monster, so this one can't be, which means this one definitely is. That was a 2, so this is a monster, unless I'm... No, that was a monster. Now I'm all gun-shy. I make one error, and then I'm... All of a sudden, I don't trust myself anymore. And I mean, you know, for good reason. I'm not going to try to convince you that you should trust me. I might be a fundamentally untrustworthy person. It's hard to know over the internet. Also, it's possible that just all humans are fundamentally untrustworthy people. Let's see. 4, so that solves that. Like to see all these 1s. That's very helpful. This... Actually, the 5 tells us that all of these have to be monsters, right? Yeah. But then this 3 is solved. Actually, a bunch of stuff is solved. And everyone is jealous. Probably more envious than jealous. That's one of those things. Jealous is one of those words that's kind of lost its meaning by the way people use it. I have been in arguments with people before about me being too strict a prescriptivist with language. But man, like, the way people use language, I get the argument about, like, active evolution and language being usage, and I find it compelling. I understand what people are saying when they argue that in almost every real sense, a language is whatever people are doing with the language. I just think it totally sucks. It totally sucks how people sometimes use language in a way that actually removes meaning from their ability to communicate. Do we have anything that's going to help me out here? No, we do not. I just have to make a raw 50-50, huh? Well, that's, you know, it's not ideal. Hey, here's a question. Does setting a cell on fire kill a monster if the monster's... like, if it's not revealed? Let's find out. I'm gonna put this down here. Okay. So do we think that's... I mean, I'm gonna click this. Okay, that was the cell the monster was in, so it didn't help us to light this up. But we didn't lose life. And now we have to reveal this in order for the... There we go. Okay, our pipe did not go off, even though it looked like the cursed familiar did eat the damage on that second one. We must have taken damage the first time, I guess. Stage power doubles whenever you take damage, and it's 3 to 9. So it is not safe. We are not safe here. Well, good to know right away. Never mind. The convulsing mod was removed because we have a very, very comfortable blanket. Heart drops because... Oh my god, Transcendence. What a beautiful item. We've gotten some very good item drops. Also, this is some upsetting... This is some upsetting music. Some of the tracks in this game are a little extreme. Oh, we should probably take a quick look around at our gleans and see if we pulled anything that tells us anything. Looks like no. So you're not just looking for zeros, you're also looking for like high values near edges, and there are sometimes things that can be deduced. Looks like nothing for us here, though. So what can we learn? Well... it doesn't actually look like the answer is very much. Kind of a rough situation here. We do have our spy ability available. It might be worth just popping it. Let's see, because... okay, we know 2 of these 3 are monsters, but at most 1 of these 2 can be, so that is definitely a monster. And then that means that 1 of these 2 definitely is, so this 2 means that this cannot be. 2 of these 3 cells are monsters. That doesn't actually help us, though, because this 3 is still missing 2 monsters. 3's over here. We don't have enough information to actually guess anything off of them. I think that's true pretty much everywhere. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna fire our spy power here. See how much this helps. Well, it did reveal some zeros. That's always nice. Actually revealed quite a few zeros. Yeah, man, spy's very powerful. Also, this early in the level, when there's all of this unexplored space, is a really good time to have a bunch of familiars spawn. It sounds like one of our familiars ran into a monster. Yes, Zygoflex, the Incredible Cthulhu, was revealed. Perhaps you've heard of Normal Cthulhu. He's my cousin. He's totally lame. I'm the Incredible Cthulhu. It also might be less of a dating profile thing and more of a marketing deal. So let's see. We don't know which of these is the flag. So 2 of these 4 corners are monsters, right? We don't, I think, have enough information to deduce anything about that yet. Are there any other obvious things to do with the gleans over here? Okay, here we know that and that are both monsters off of this 2, so we actually have a lot of revealing that we can do there. Yeah, we'll just work in toward all that stuff from here. This 2 is already solved. This 2 is not. Yeah, go get him, familiar. That's not that familiar that was making that noise, I'm pretty sure. Okay, we know this is a monster. 1 of these is. This can't be a monster. Ooh, a 5 is useful. There are 4 cells. There are 4 monsters in these 5 cells. What can we make out of that? Well, we know at most 1 of these 2 is a monster, which means all 3 of these are monsters, which means that's a monster for that 4. That hands us some value. I'm happy to see all the high value cells out here, because obviously we're going to be able to cord a ton of information out of this. 5 doesn't really tell us anything. Well, okay, so this 3, only 1 of these can be a monster, right? Because of this 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 over here. And that gives us a couple of solves. Well, 1. That gives us 1 solve. Still good, though. So if only one... Okay. We know that the one monster that's adjacent to this cell is in this row, so these are all safe to click out. And we also know that this is itself a monster, right? Because for the 3, that has to be and then one of the ones adjacent to that, which means this 2 is solved, which means that's the monster. Also, it looks like our familiar is maybe going to actually do something. Nope, never mind. He realized that that he was about to be accidentally helpful, and he veered off. Alright, that solves a bunch of stuff around here. Where would I be without the spy power, I ask you? We know that's a monster. Do I want to do a mind control? Because actually, we have a couple of revealed monsters that are in places where they could potentially do a thing for us. You know what I would really love is some heart drops. Now that we have an item that makes our heart drops extremely powerful, wouldn't it be super great to have some? And I do appreciate, like, the monsters are actually going places. Now, when our familiars crash into other Cthulhus, our familiars are the ones who always die. Apparently, we got the weakest. Nothing but the weakest Cthulhus for me. You're solved already. The 3 means that's a monster. Let's see here. This 3... Yeah, all of that stuff has to be monsters, right? Because of the 2. This 3 is solved already. This... Starting to get a little nervous. Moving too fast here, and I'm certain I'm screwing up. Okay. Let's take a second here. So this 5 is solved. This 5 is solved now. That's unfortunate, because that really does block progress. This 5 is solved. Do we want to re-brainwash? That we've revealed a couple more familiars. I mean, we may as well, right? This way they're moving around, they're dragging the cursed trail behind them. That can potentially, could potentially save us some damage. We might unlock that Hunter Mastery yet, actually. It's looking like we are probably going to have a lot of familiars on a lot of stages. Okay, so the 1 tells us that this must be a monster. And I guess the 3 was also telling us that. This 3 is solved already. This 3 is solved. That's got to be a 1, right? Yeah, because we know this has to be a monster because of the 3. Still doesn't actually let me build anything out here. Let's, I tend to dance around a little bit, you know, just, okay, so this 3 tells us that that's a monster. This 2 tells us that these can't be. Did I must have made a mistake somewhere. We didn't take damage. So that's good. Which of these is not actually a thing? So this 3 tells us that these 3 must be monsters, so it's got to be one of these 2 that's wrong, right? Yeah, this 4 has 5 marks next to it. Well, this 4 tells us that all 4 of those must be monsters, so this is the one that's wrong. Yep. Well, let's re-brainwash them. Okay. If our cursed followers can just keep us from taking damage, maybe our pipe will actually activate this time. Although, I think it should have activated last time too, so it's possible that damage that is taken but deflected by the curse trail still prevents the pipe from working. I would argue that it shouldn't, because it is literally not damage that we took, but hard to know how those things will work internally. Anyway, like I was saying, I jump around a lot because I get easily distracted. And you can tell that that's true based on the number of times that I had to restart that thought so that I could finally express it to you. Got ourselves an artifact. Is radium actually, in real life, a floating green slime? Hard to say. So that's a monster. This is a monster. This is all solved. Okay, we've got most of this one down. There are 13 monsters left in this great big area. Alright. So these must be monsters, right? And then one of these two is, because of the 3. This 4 is solvable. So that means this thing is not a monster, which means also we can push through over here. Alright, that was pretty big. That revealed a whole lot of the remaining space. Let's see, that's a monster. It's all monsters, man, all the way down. Jumping at shadows over here. This music is not helping. So you must be a monster then. You must be a monster. You must be a monster, and I think we did it. I think we should get a soul off of this. Yeah, okay, we did. So cursed followers on cursed tiles deflecting damage does prevent us from taking the damage in all of the ways that matter. I am comfortable going to the item shop. 66 is plenty. 50% chance to negate the effect of an omen when it triggers. Ooh, after 50 turns without making a mistake, you win the current stage. We should take this and use it on the final level. Use a random targeted magic effect on target 3x3 area. Hard to know if that's actually going to be any good. Do we want to grab... We want to grab the Holy Ring just in case. We don't have an omen now, but we could pick an omen up at some point. You know, we're opening chests, and each chest could potentially contain one. I'm going to take that, I think. Oh, right, and the shop remains open, so we could come back and buy stuff if we want. Whenever you make a mistake, surrounding cells are revealed, and monsters in those cells attack you. This stage is broken up into multiple floors, and also your status effect timers do not update. I don't think that's a big deal for us. It's going to prevent our legendary item from going off, so that's, you know, not awesome. But our comforter is going to remove one of these mods. Let's see which one. It removed the ladder thing. It turned it all back into one big floor again. That's fine, I guess. I'm trying to get the chest to come out of the bubble. Alright, what do we got? We got a magic totem that reduces the stage power by 1. The stage power is currently 3 to 9. So if we were to get hit right now, it would be pretty severe. Okay, what do we know here? Well, we have a 1-2-1. So that's pretty good for us. The stage sounds like the stage music sounds like something you would hear in a Bimani game. I'm not saying that I'm expecting the lady to come in singing about her little butterfly or anything, but you know, it has that feel is all. One of these is a monster. That doesn't necessarily tell me a lot. Okay, we know this is a monster though, so you have this 2-1 configuration over here. That's a monster. We don't know which one of these is the other monster for that too, so we can't really act on that just yet. Also, I didn't even look out for the rest of our gleans. Well, yeah, we'll get to it. It's not actually important. It's not actually terribly important for us to look around immediately. I mean, we don't gain anything by digging out areas far away from what we're working on. I just do it because I know I'm going to end up jumping around all the time anyway, so. Alright, where do we know a thing? Okay, here we know a thing. There are only 3 tiles adjacent to that. Found an obelisk. Complete the stage within 80 seconds to find a tablet. Well, that is not happening. Like, definitely not. Also, tablets... It seems like there's a couple of different tablets. It's a lovely thing to find. But mostly they seem to just, like, give you a little bit of extra XP or they're items that don't really have a big effect on your run, so I don't care that we're not getting one. That is also a monster. One of these is, so that is for sure. This must be, and this can't be. I'm catching myself again, feeling like I'm going too fast. Alright, we know these have to be monsters. So, if we can get out of this without taking damage here, I wanna refire that. I guess, yeah, we should fire this every time it comes up, I guess, since we can't rely on our legendary to lower the amount of incoming damage for us. It's just laziness is what it is. So that must be a monster which solves the 4. This is pretty convenient. Where else do we know of things? This 4 tells us one of these 2 is a monster. Which means that this is giving us that cell. Unfortunately, that doesn't really have a huge amount more application. You're already solved. One of these 2 is a monster, so this one isn't. I know that there are many ways in which the extremely spooky, like, PT-ass music that we had in the last level is kind of inappropriate for the thing we're doing. But this feels way more tonally inappropriate for the thing we're doing. It's like, this is a lot more energy than I feel like I'm actually putting out into the universe here. Alright, can we work somewhere else a little bit? Okay, so we know one of these is a monster, so this can't be. One of these 2 is a monster, so these are all safe. Which means this is a monster for that 3, which means this 2 is solved, as is this 1. There we go. This actually really reflects my real-life work habits, I'm realizing. It's very difficult for me to necessarily just like sit down and do one thing, but if you give me a list of 10 things that need doing, definitely going to hit that at least a couple more times. Give me a list of like 10 things that need doing, I will get them all done, probably by bouncing back and forth between them. As soon as one of them becomes like a little bit unpalatable, I just go work on something else for a little while. Maybe that's totally normal. I don't know. It seems like a strange way to do things to me, but maybe that's totally normal. Maybe that's how everybody does stuff. So one of these 2 is a monster. No, we don't really get anything on this 4. This 4 is also not really telling us anything. So the 2 monsters down here could be in any configuration. Oh, this 2 is just solved. We could maybe start with that. Since this 4 mandates that there is a monster there. Solves this 3. The 2 is already solved, so we know that's clear. One of these 2 is a monster, which means that one is also a monster. There we go. Also, I think with puzzle games like this, it helps me to go look at another part of the puzzle, because you get into sort of like a brain rut. One of these 2 is, which makes these safe off of that 1. You get into a brain rut and you stop seeing new solutions. So if I keep breaking away and looking at different parts of the puzzle, I think it helps me avoid the brain rut. Although also, SB, what on earth are you talking about, man? It's like everything I've said so far is just me developing a coping strategy for dealing with the fact that my brain kind of doesn't work as well as we all might hope. Okay, at most one of these can be a monster, which means that must be a monster for this 3, which means these over here are all very solved. We're at 3 to 6 now, so at this point there's no more value in reducing the power of the stage. No matter how we get hit, we're going to take exactly 1 damage. I'm a little bummed out about the fact that we're not getting any free familiar spawns, because it means that we're not protected from damage in any way. But we've also gained multiple souls already this level, so I certainly can't complain. This one is already solved. One of these two is a monster, so that one can't be a monster, which means this is a monster for this 4. Certainly don't want to have to guess. I don't think we're quite there yet. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, this 2. Only one of these can be a monster. That doesn't really tell me a lot. I guess it has to be here. No, it doesn't have to be here, because it could be here to satisfy this 2, and then down here to satisfy the 3. Yeah, that just doesn't tell us anything. Not yet, anyway. And I keep looking at our items, like one of them's just going to do something. No, we've pretty much worked out everywhere else. We just got to figure out a way in over here. Could involve a guess. It's possible that this involves a guess. Alright, the 5 has 2 monsters in the 4 cells over here. At most, one of them is down here, but that doesn't really mean anything because they could just both be here, or it could be one down in those spaces. Yeah, we might be in guessing territory. Okay, well for this 2, we know that this is a monster. And then one of these 2 is as well, which means this cannot be. That's something. And then, so for the 3, one of these 3 is a monster, which means for this 2, one of those 3 is a monster. That doesn't really help us. Yeah, I think we've exhausted what we can deduce down there in that way. There's a bunch of places where we just have, like, 50-50s. Okay, hold on. This 2, we know that this is safe. One of these is a monster, one of those is a monster, and that being the case, this is a 50-50 cell, that's a 50-50 cell, and then this one has a bunch of cells around it that are a little bit less likely to contain anything horrible. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to do before we press the button. I think the answer is no. I think we just want to start guessing. So let's look around this one. So one of these is a monster. That doesn't tell us a huge amount about that too. I'd really love to get another solve going here. Makes me a little bit nervous to do this thing where I'm just clicking in the dark. So if one of these is a monster, and one of these is a monster, I mean, that could be the 2 monsters for this 2, or it could just be that is hostile, and then there's a monster down here. So we didn't actually learn anything by revealing any of this stuff yet. With each one of these that we reveal, we're making it slightly more likely that we're going to see the monster. We're just not getting any information, man. Alright, I'm going to try this again. We're going to just shoot some flame at a cell that we think might contain a monster. Alright. So I'm going to mark this. We don't have any evidence yet whether or not that actually kills stuff. It totally might. That's a shame that that worked out that way. Because it was really this cell that we wanted to be the flag, right? Well, since this one tells us that one of these is a monster, we know this can't be a monster. And then we have to guess again. Don't like it. I don't care for it. What's not super likely to be a monster? We have 50-50s, we have a bunch of 50-50s. Down here on this 5, each of these 2 groups of cells contains 1 monster, so again, we're looking at 50%. With this 3, there's only 1 monster in these 3 cells. That's a little bit better for us. Yeah, I guess we just gotta start picking. Ow. Okay. Oh, we did take we did take an extra damage there because of the team. But that did also reveal more information. This 2 is solved. This 3 makes this safe. One of these two is a monster, so one of these two is a monster. For that 3, it doesn't really help us all that much. And I guess at this point, we should brainwash. I wish I knew what that number was. If we can just find somewhere else to click, he'll move and let us know. I guess we have a 1 and 3 over here. Okay, that's a 1. That's good. That's the number we wanted that to be. And now we have guys on a cursed trail, so at least they will absorb some damage for us. We're definitely not getting our pipe, though. One of these two is a monster, so this one can't be. I appreciate you just opening that up, because that means this is definitely the monster. And our poor friendly guy has been murdered. He died horribly in mirror combat with the micro creep deity. I'll tell you, he feels like a macro creep to me. Alright, so the fact that that wasn't a monster, one of these is, so this one can't be, so this one is, that does actually solve this area for us, I think. Hey, I'm not clear on why our Kingmaker advanced, because it spawned a familiar for us. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It's a little weird. Okay, down here we have this... Oh, sorry. This 4 doesn't work like that. That's totally already a monster. We do know that at most one of these two... Or, sorry, exactly one of these two cells is a monster. So we can do that. Yeah, we're working it out slowly. So one of these two is, and there's not really a good way to guess at that. One of these two is a monster, one of those two is a monster. Yep, just a whole lot of places where one of 2 cells is a monster, and we get the fun of guessing. I'm really not happy with how many guesses it's looking like we're gonna have to make. We might wanna... I'm gonna go ahead and use our bones. Aw, they buried in a cell that didn't have a number in it. That's a shame. Looking at the way the board is designed, that's pretty unlucky. It was more likely to land in a cell that had a number. And if it had, it would have healed us for that number. I was just trying to go back to full health. Well... So we can't tell anything at all about where the monster for this 3 is. There's no way to deduce anything on this board anymore. So we're just gonna pick a number here. We're gonna pick a square, rather. Ow. That's not the place that I wanted that to be. We're at 1 health. How's mine? No, mind control not available yet. Well, this did solve some of our cells at least. That was a lot of damage, man. I don't suppose you could, like, go to a place that's actually useful for me. Alright, that's something. He revealed something for us. So this must be a monster. One of these is a monster, so that can't be... Man, I really, really, really don't want to have to, guess again. Okay, what else do we have over here? Oh, I guess this 5 only has 5 cells adjacent to it. That's a pretty easy one. You're good, which means this is a monster, which means these numbers down here are all set. We have Brainwash available, but at this point I don't think it's going to help us to use it. You guys are all good. That must be a monster, which means this must be a monster, which means we're done? Okay, we live. As you can tell from my voice, I don't feel great about it. I think there's a chance this is really not going to work out for us. So the shop just has that one... Oh no, it has new stuff in it. Hungry plants are more common. You may right-click hungry plant to feed it the last thing in your inventory. That doesn't really help us. Monsters roll extra times for damage equal to your number of omens and use the weakest result. That doesn't do anything either. Alright, I guess we're just leaving this shop. Time to go fight the deadly foe. Stage contains electric cells, which are twice as potent. It's a shame that that modifier won't actually be there. So we're going in here with 1 health. This is... I mean, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, no doubt. So when we click here, it's going to reveal the boss to us. I'm going to click in the corner on purpose this time because I want to try to keep the boss corralled. Oh no! The Hellspawn! So, on the boss stages, some things are a little bit different. Whenever a Dark Heart is collected, we'll gain a random omen. Whenever I make a mistake, we will increase the stage power by our number of omens, and I cannot be made immune to omens. Also, some hearts spawned, which I am eternally grateful for. And show me some cool stuff. When you enter stage, gain minions equal to the maximum power. Pretty annoyed about that, because that's going to replace our existing legendary item, and it's much, much worse than our existing legendary item. Also, hooray, money. Okay, so much like a familiar, every turn the boss is going to move in a random direction, and this is what I was hoping would happen. The boss will not open new cells, and I just want to keep the boss corralled and away from all of the stuff that we're doing over here. Stage power is 4 to 10. I guess I should be reducing that. Oh, also, sorry, we should eat the fruit of labor. 50 turns without making a mistake causes us to win. Wouldn't that be nice? So if we click this one here, it will spend 1 turn to unlock these 3 cells. We want to click cells individually when they're safe here, because we want to pass as many turns as possible right now. Are there any other places down here where we courted, aha, a number that we can make use of, is what I was going to say. I do have 11 coins. Please make me some body armor. Oh, right. That's the first time we've actually gotten any use out of our monocle, huh? That flagged some monsters for us. You know, that's safe. You know, that's safe. All we have to do is make it 50 turns. This is absolutely doable. Just have to play a little slow and careful. Okay, that resets the timer. Also, we took a bunch of damage. Did I do a wrong here somewhere? How could that be a monster? I guess... Okay, this one is solved. Yeah, I definitely did some bad math somewhere. Lucy of Dread, out here with the diamonds. We were just handed some armor. What is this? Wow! That's the best piece of chest armor I've ever seen by a huge margin. Okay, so we have 30 points of damage absorption now, which hopefully will make our lives a little bit easier, make it a little more likely that I will get these 50 turns done. I wish that familiar had not spawned right in front of us, because I don't know what my error was there, and he made it kind of hard to tell. Just gonna take it real slow and careful here. We know all of these are safe. We're definitely gonna hit that magic totem again. We know all of these are safe, although again, this is all related, or all based on the idea that I've done a good job with my flagging so far, which is a thing that we, you know, cannot necessarily trust, we've learned. You know, I've been on both ends of this now. I have watched Let's Players play puzzle games, and I have been a Let's Player playing a puzzle game. And I hope that those of you out there who see me make a mistake, and who are like, oh my god, no, that's going to come back and bite him in the ass, have the wherewithal to realize that the thing you should be taking away here is it's really easy to make mistakes without noticing it, and probably it's happening to you too. Let me serve as an example. Respect your own awareness. The dragon's going to be real unhappy about what's about to happen here. I did not think that was going to open up for him like that. It's fine. He can run around out here. So one thing that usually happens on boss levels, and I'm not 100% sure why it hasn't happened here, it could just be good luck for us. You see it mentions Dark Hearts in his description. On boss levels, usually you get a lot of like Dark Heart spawns just out in the, you know, just like coins or anything else. They're just everywhere. I don't know why no Dark Hearts spawned here, but that's the reason I try to keep the boss corralled, because he will collect the Dark Hearts and bad things will happen to you. And there's a whole bunch of different bosses and they have different Dark Heart collection effects. So I was just trying to be cautious of that, but it looks like we're all good and maybe we're about to win the game? Look at that. All you have to do is get incredibly lucky over and over and over again, and then, to my credit, eat the fruit at the right time. That's how you win a game of Demon Crawl. It's easy. Quest complete. Hey, that's a new high score, right? Our previous high score on this was 18 something. All right. Hey, I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good about putting up a win before the end of the series, especially after some of the ignominious deaths we suffered in the last episode. So we've unlocked some new visibility here in the Codex. We've found even more items. There are still a few things that I've never picked up. When I say a few, I mean like actually kind of a lot? Kind of many. More than one by a bunch. Oh, crafting! This is where the crafting thing is. So, all those artifacts we've been picking up have a couple of different purposes. First of all, we can find blueprints sometimes in the game. If you manage to carry a blueprint home, you learn how to craft the item. If you were to, wow, we don't have the correct artifacts for anything here. These are all actually very difficult to craft. If we successfully crafted one of these things, I believe it would go into our heirloom slot, from whence we would have access to it next game. There is one more thing that you do with your with the artifacts. There is a difficulty up here that costs some number of artifacts and also a token fee to play. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really know what's going on with the Beyond difficulty. There's just so many things in this game, you guys. It's really it's really intense and remarkable, and it's super weird that this thing exists at all. I think, though, we are beyond exploring any more of its secrets today. There is stuff in here. There are things to unlock. There are things to understand. Things that I have not yet grasped. But we are out of time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. This is going to be the last episode of Demon Crawl for this short series. But as with the other games I played, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more of this in the channel on the future. All the words were there. You can put them in the right order yourself. That's a little puzzle that I left for you, the viewer. Come back next time, tomorrow, for a different thing. That's right, I'm still playing games. I'm still going to keep showing them to you. So come back next time tomorrow to see what the new different thing is. And we'll see you then.